even when we were caught unawares. We are doing that. You are familiar with what is happening in the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, and then almost all private secondary schools have taken it up. They are doing some online teaching so as to keep the children engaged, right? And for tertiary institutions, very fantastic. But there's something developed in Abraka now that after the whole thing has settled down, I will sit down with my counterpart in the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education. An advancement in this distant teaching. I watched it. It was demonstrated to me, and I was very excited about it. There are some very riverine and rural schools that don't have teachers in physics and all that. And they have this application that somebody can be in Abraka teaching physics to students in Ogulaha. Yes, and they will watch it. And they can ask questions. And the teacher can react. It's something they have tested. And I told my counterpart in basic and secondary education that I have something fantastic that we'll discuss after COVID-19. So it's beyond COVID-19. You see, necessity is the mother of invention. With COVID-19, the people went to their laboratories, to their workshops. This thing can, to their offices. These things can work. Let's see how it can work. They started it on the short distance. Then before you know it, it blossomed and it just ballooned like that, right? So we are ready. We are not praying for such eventualities, but should they occur, we will be in a better position to manage. But if I were to assess the management by the institutions this period, A++. I'll give them A++. Beyond our expectation, frankly. If they are not done it, we'll have no basis for challenging them or for blaming them. But their performance so far has been superlative. I would say the major challenges I have right now have to do with electricity. Student on-campus accommodation and staff on-campus accommodation. These are big challenges, very big challenges. You all know the failure of public electricity supply. It's not something we can do on our own. We need the private sector to partner with us. When I came on board, that was the first announcement I made. Please come, let us reason together. The private, come, let us reason together. Bring what you have. We'll give you very, very comfortable terms to bring 24-hour electricity to our institutions. People are already coming in. As they come, I send them to the institutions, because it is their show, right? My own is just to oversee. And so reports are already coming. If not for some technical problems, the first one by now, by my expectation, should have been commissioned. But there was some grammar here and there, and so on. See, it is sad that you pass through an institution of higher learning at 8 p.m. and the whole place is dark. In other words, apart from electricity not being available for you to do your work, security is a big challenge, occasioned by that darkness. When you drive by Ogwashiku Poly at night, you are at the gate, the whole of the inside is darkness. Anybody could break into any office. So you are even driving the security men harder. They are working even harder to ensure security of lives and property. And we have students there. They can't live in darkness. That is not a priority. It is the priority. Electricity is the priority for us right now. When we have it, you will see how the whole place blossoms. But when you go there, even in the daytime, when the lecturers are in their offices, there is despondence. On their faces, you see, they are sweating. That environment is not conducive to study. It's not conducive to mark scripts. It's not conducive to set questions. And to start with, not conducive to prepare lecture notes. It is not. It's not conducive for interaction between staff and students. It's not conducive for anything. Once we get that going, every other thing will follow. It's like Solomon asking for wisdom. He asked for wisdom, and every other thing was given to him by God. Our wisdom is electricity. Once we get electricity, we'll be up and doing. That is one. Another one is student accommodation. Rape everywhere. If they were living in the campus, we'll be able to provide at least some level of security for the girls, particularly. You know what it means for a parent to send a child to school and for the child to come to say she was raped. Both the child and the parents will bear that stigma for life. Parent will regret, why did I send this child to school? Yet you must send your child to school. And we owe it a responsibility to protect this child. So the failure is our failure. Because we are supposed to stand in as parents for the period they are in school. But we cannot control what happens outside our gates. So if they live inside, we can say, yes, we take responsibility, full responsibility. There will be a hall warden, there will be a hall supervisor, there will be porters. No stranger comes in, is checked, remain in the sitting room. So we are working towards that again on build, operate, and transfer. In other words, we want the private sector again to come in. Build hostels for us. We'll give you, like I said, very comfortable terms to recoup your money. Nobody wants to invest and reap nothing. Don't forget about it. Nobody is going to borrow money from the bank, build a hostel and say, I will give it to you for free. No such person. And government cannot exactly muster that kind of fund now to build hostels in all the institutions. So okay, so let us partner with them. Build, we help you collect the rent. For as long as it takes for you to recoup your money, it is your property. It takes you 20 years, 25 years, it is your property. I'm saying this loud and clear. It remains your property until you recoup it. That's the only way we can encourage people to come in. All my life as a teacher, most of my life as a teacher, I've lived in the university campus. I attended a university where most lecturers were living inside the campus. Until one period like that when, I think was it Gowon also, who ejected lecturers from their residential quarters because there was a disagreement. People should come and establish housing estates also within our institutions, so that you have a housing estate, security is provided, right? Electricity is there, you pay for it. You will work harder. A lecturer will stay longer in his or her office because he's just living within the campus. How will you close why will you leave your office at 9 p.m. in Ogwashipu Poly? You are dry. Delta State University is supposed to be a complete university. It was set up to meet the challenges our children face in getting admission in other universities. And so we are supposed to have all the courses that we are making them go out. And I'm proud to say there's hardly any course we do not have in Delta State University. But all these years, the Delta State University has existed. We have not had architecture, quantity surveying, regional planning. We have not had all of that. And we just feel we must have it. And so Governor approved the establishment of the Faculty of Environmental Studies based on it to the other end of town. You are not too sure whether Fulani herdsmen are on the way, waiting for you. That's another killer squad. Recommendation from the university. You know, when we started, initially there was no law. The law came on board. There was no engineering. Engineering came up. In fact, there was Floyd, the policeman who killed Floyd. People are protesting over Floyd. Nigeria, there was no management sciences. Management sciences came on board. We didn't start with medical sciences. We have medical sciences now. Right? So our university is complete. There's hardly any course we do not have. I'm just thinking, maybe aeronautical engineering. One day we'll get there. After all, we have an airport now. One day we will get there. But the faculty of engineering is already there. Right. Then, of course, we're having a look at the polytechnics. The polytechnics. Do not forget that it is the intention of this government to have a technical school in every local government area of this state. And what they come out with, the NAPTEP certificate they come out with, is both terminal and preparatory. Meaning it must prepare you for something else if you don't want to truncate your education at that level. If you do truncate it, fine. You're already skilled. And you know the federal government has come up with a policy of phasing out the higher national diploma. So what we have now will just be the ND. I also say they want to protest. How can you protest when you've not used to call ordinary national diploma? So we must be thinking of what to do. Should all the polytechnics all just be established there, retained for just the OND or the ND, or protested against Killer Fulani herdsmen? Or we'll give them opportunity, one or two opportunity to do this and that. We are thinking seriously along that line, right? Because when a child leaves the technical school, is attracted to go to the polytechnic for his ND. When he finishes, also terminal or preparatory. Having gone through technical school and now got ND, the child is already showing interest in re-engineering. He wants to go into the university to read for a degree in engineering. We must think of creating spaces for them to enter. Our responsibility as government is to create education space for as many of our children as are qualified to go. If you go to universities nationwide, the number of data seeking admission to read engineering, medicine, accounting, architecture would marvel you. Would marvel you. They do very well in JAMB exams. Very, very well. But the spaces are few. Yes, when they graduate, they will not have jobs the way a Fulani graduate would have a job, right? Does that mean because they are not treated like the others, we should prevent them from having educational spaces? No, let them continue to go to school. We want to improve on the sciences too, so that we can meet the 60-40 science to non-science subject admission in our institutions. And for us to meet the 60-40, we must create the space. We must create the infrastructure. We must employ the staff needed. This is where our money goes to in Delta State. Delta State money goes into education. So that's why it pains me when some people, after spending money in training you, after employing you as a civil servant, you still want to come and be chairman of COVID-19 fumigation committee. And you expect me, a university professor, to just say, Governor, just do it now. Do it so that they don't cry. You can't beat a child and say no cry. We'll beat you, go and cry. It's not everything a parent grants when demanded by a child. We should be in a position to say, sorry, this will not happen. And you will not die if I don't give it to you. So that is where we are education-wise, tertiary education-wise in Delta. And you know, apart from these three polytechnics, there's also a School of Marine Technology in Burutu. Government spends money on all of this. And I always want people to appreciate it. So when some character